What is up, guys? It's Miggy. We're back at it again with another episode of the Breakdown. We're still talking about M7. So of course we had to bring back our first ever guest, Bipoler. What is up, Bipoler? Musta?
What is up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and also good night to everybody that's going to be watching this video. Miggy, I'm so glad that you invited me once again to the podcast. Yeah, more M7 action and a lot to talk about entirely, Miggy, just because some things we expected did happen, but some very exciting, unexpected events did happen, even on the picks and even on the winning teams. So yeah, I'm just excited to be here, Miggy, once again, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, we are going to be talking about the Swiss stage of M7, and we're going to talk about the day one knockouts because honestly, I did not know it was last Sunday. So good thing I caught it when I was just randomly scrolling. And yeah, again, apologies in advance for not feeling well right now. So if you guys hear coughing, I am sorry. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about the flow. We're going to be talking about the Swiss stage, of course. We're going to be talking about the first day knockouts. We're going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about our meta analysis. And of course, the
Mm-hmm.
usual, we're going to have our meta picks and our match predictions. And without further ado, before we get into it, I want to congratulate all the teams that did not make it. I know, right?
Ah,
It's funny, right? They were congratulating the ones who got eliminated. But honestly, what are your thoughts on Bipoler? Because personally, even though they did not make it to the knockouts, being part of M7 is a is something, right? It's something
yeah.
every team wants to go after and so on. So what are your thoughts with with what I'm just saying with congratulating the losers?
You know what? I was actually surprised. I was about to clap like entirely for the winning teams, but I mean, yeah, it's still a feat for for these teams that did unfortunately just immediately got out, didn't even qualify for the next stage of M7. But yeah, I do agree with what you did say. A lot of these teams are fresh, especially on a team that we were banking on, especially me, Team Zone. A
Yeah.
lot of rookies on their teams. I'm just unfortunate again that they didn't even come close to getting into the playoff stage, or at least um, even longer than we were, even farther from the competition. But yeah, this is just a starting point. We are just like what we mentioned last time. A lot of regions now are showing their dominance, not just in their local scene, but now in the M7, in the international level. Just like what the Philippines have brought into the table. So this is not really the end point of these like countries battling it all out in the world of Mobile Legends. But this is now a starting point, and I feel like as 2026 moves forward or prolongs or goes to the last months or even in the early of 2027, we are going to be expecting a lot more competition out there, not just from the Philippines, not just from Southeast Asia or in Asia as a whole, but yeah, from different continents as well. So I am very excited. And again, guys, congratulations! It's still an achievement. I couldn't have done that. I think Mickey could have done that as a coach, but me as a player, no. I think I would not be able to do what these guys have done despite them losing.
Yeah, I actually agree with you how competitive it's been. A lot of the coaches, a lot of the seasoned veterans from the Mobile Legends scene, they
Yep.
have been saying that this is one of the toughest M7s or M series they've played in. Because
You know.
honestly, if we're looking at the teams that got eliminated, Team Falcons
Mm-hmm.
from MENA, super strong.
Yeah.
I expected them to
Super.
actually go further. And of course the underdog story we have to highlight Team Zone. They went
Yep.
to the M series, self-funded, independent. It was
Yep.
just they were just grinding it out, and then truthfully so they were able to escape the wild cards. They did not end their Swiss stage run winless, and
Yep.
it just goes to show that if you're passionate about it, if you have the drive, you can make it in the MLBB competitive scene.
Yep. I
And
mean,
with
absolutely,
yeah,
Miggy. That I'm just so sad for the bottom teams right now at the screen that you're seeing Boostgate and DFYG. I call them DFYG
Yeah.
because it's just easier. Despite them
Agree.
not winning, a lot of these matches, best of threes, best of ones, they were up against a lot of like big household names. You have
Yeah.
Falcons from they battled the Falcons for the FYG, and for Boostgate, I think they had a tougher route compared to the FYG. They were up against Onyx, and then they're up against Zone that we were ultimately banking on a
Yeah.
lot. So yeah, I mean it's still pretty good. If you can hear me right now, I am clapping my cheeks off for you guys.
And yes, yes, yes. So with that being said, congratulations, GG, well played. Team Falcon, CG Esports, CFU Esport, Gaming, Evil, Black Sentence Esports, Team Zone, DFYG, and Boostgate. And of course, we're
Yep.
gonna congratulate you guys later on the top 8. But with that being said, we talked about the losers of Swiss Stage. Let's talk highlights for Swiss Stage. So round
Mm-hmm.
one, a lot of actually all round one games are best of one.
Yep.
And honestly, I think looking back at our first episode, if you guys watched it, Bipoler and I actually just mispredicted 2 games. On my end,
Yeah.
it was the BSE versus CFU. And of course, we are Team Zone fans here. So Team Zone versus YG. Yangon Galacticos, they were the ones who won. And for Bipolar, SRG versus CG, he predicted, if I recall correctly, CG winning over SRG. But again, not bad. It's how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 out of 8 we were able to get a percentage. It's better than 50-50. We had a prediction rate. Oh, that's better than 50-50, so I'll take that.
Yep.
And how about you, Bipolar? Do you have any highlights you want to mention about round one? Any
I
thoughts?
mean,
Any surprise picks?
when I did see that SRG won and I predicted CG, I knew right from the start that it was gonna be a risk banking on CG. And looking at it right now, I just noticed this is one of the fastest games that
Yeah.
was played in round one. So I feel like we do have a great win percentage in terms of depicting who's gonna win in round number one. But looking at the one that I lost, it's pretty heartbreaking because it's one of the shortest games that you could have watched, and that's where I put all my coins on to to basically just predict who is gonna win here. But yeah, I mean, as SRG's SRG, the reason why I really did pick the other team is because I want a different feel. We see SRG winning a lot,
Yeah.
so why not put like CG in the mix of a top contender, right? But yeah, of course, we gotta highlight this. This is one of our highlights for the rest of the night, I guess. Aurora Philippines or Aurora versus TL Team Liquid is something to very talk deeper because what happened in round number one is not the same thing that happened in Sunday, Miggy.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, there's a lot of things here, but a lot of things to talk about here. But yeah, honestly, I just feel pretty good that these are the teams that qualified.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of the Aurora and Team Liquid game, this was the one match I actually really took note of because I was watching
Mm,
it with my coaching staff. So we were trying
yeah.
to analyze the draft and everything. It really goes to show that Aurora Philippines knows how to draft. Coach Master the Basics really knows how to draft. But
Yes.
then we have to consider, as I mentioned from previous episodes, it's a best of one. You draft differently
Mm,
when it comes to best of ones, best of threes, best of fives, and best of sevens. In this game, they drafted really well. They drafted a very safe pick for Aurora Gaming. So you have your Uranus, you have your Fred, your Eve, your Carrie, and your Chu. These are good on paper, but then you're pitting it against Team Liquid's team, which is also a good draft because Coach Chef RC is always cooking up a really good draft with the Alice
yeah.
YSS, Louis, Claude, and Hylos. But you gotta consider this is a best of one, so you want to make sure that your players are playing on their comfort. Aurora
Mm,
Gaming, yes, they're kind of playing comfort, but then Edward is not really known for his tanky XP laners, right?
yeah.
He's the one who engages, and Demon Kite is on a Fredrid which is not really his flavor. He's more known as a an assassin jungler, right? He's more
Yeah.
mechanically intensive heroes. Of course, even Yue on Eve and everything. These are pretty standard. But if we're looking at Team Liquid's draft, they are all on comfort. They've experienced the Luyi from the MPL season 16 finals. Sanji's
Yeah.
Luyi was what ended their game, their run, right? So that's what happened. At least that's what I want to highlight for round one. Is the match between Aurora Philippines and Team Liquid. They both drafted really well. The teams both drafted really well. It's just that Team Liquid drafted a bit better because they were playing on their comfort heroes.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah,
I'd like to add more to that, Mickey. They're playing comfort heroes, but they're also playing heroes that scale a lot more better
yeah,
than what Aurora Philippines have in their draft. You have Claude, great burst as long as you don't get killed in the early game, and
true.
that's what they really did. They just scaled even more. You have a YSS that damage wise, man, this has been dominating M7. So
Yes, sir.
giving this to TLPH is a big question mark for me when I saw this because you're up against TLPH, Carl TZ is there, OISS is open. Why give it to him, man?
Agree.
Alice is a no-brainer, but yeah, it's really hard to just ban out a lot of heroes focused on their XP laner just because Sanford is just too good. But yeah, you have Louis as well. Louis, it's just a big damage burst. For heroes that are so squishy, not Uranus, not Fredrin, but your main damage dealers in Aurora at the time. You have Carry, you have Eve, that is just a big team fight potential kind of hero, and they just get bursted by three of these heroes. Majority of the draft of TLPH. So I think yeah, what you said about draft wise, both teams really did draft well, but in terms of how they played in game as well, it was just better all out in paper for Team Liquid.
Yeah, actually, since you did mention the Claude, I think this is like leaning towards the meta analysis and stuff. But
Mm,
I think people found the stats. I'm not sure about the percentage, but with Team Liquid making it work, this is one of the very few games where Claude actually beat the carry in the game. Because
yeah, that's true.
when M7 was talked about, they were always saying, oh, it's a 50-50. The new 50-50 is carry versus Claude. But in
Mm,
most matches, it's probably because of the draft. Carry just scales better or has a higher win rate against the Claude. Probably because of the burst potential. As you mentioned, Claude
yeah,
will dish out all that damage, but Claude cannot die. But with
yeah,
carry being a more mobile choice, I think that's why people or teams tend to favor carry a lot more. And
yeah.
do you have anything else to add before? I want to highlight, I want to talk about our boys after this. So, do you have anything else to add?
No, no,
Okay.
no, I'm good.
Okay. So let's talk about our boys, Team Zone versus Yangon Galacticos. This was actually it's a 20-minute game. So
Yeah,
this was
very long.
actually we were just rooting for Team Zone in this game, and they true enough they showed that they did not drop it without a fight. But we're looking at the draft right now. What are your thoughts on the draft before we move on? Because Team Zone's running a YZ
Um,
Joy, Lunox mid, Claude, and Gatot versus a Benedetta, Baksha, Zushin, Harith, and a Helkert. I know you have strong opinions about the
uh,
Helkert.
yeah. Yeah, it's a 20-minute game. It's a best of one once again, Miggy. I do like that they picked up the joy. Comfort hero wise, it's good. You have the YZ that is just also dominating as long as you give it a lot of time. They have the Lunox and Claude as well. So again, on paper, theory wise, Zone has a very, very good draft.
Yeah,
That's why they extended it up to a very, very long time. This is basically more than late game in my eyes,
true.
20 minutes. But
Agree.
for YG, you have many mobile heroes. You have very squishy heroes. You have Benedetta, very squishy. Just she just becomes durable just because of the skills. You have Hellkit, very squishy as well. Zushin and Harith are also squishy, but with their composition and with their mobility, I think that is also a factor wherein Z1 doesn't have an insta lock on these heroes. You
True.
can't stun lock this Harit. You only have a taunt coming in from the Gatot Kacha. So they extended it to a lot, but once YG adapted to their playstyle in that game, it was basically bonkers.
True.
YG just had a lot more time. Um, YG just had time to immediately adapt and make up a game plan. Let's do this. Let's utilize this Hellcat more. Let's focus on helping the Harat even more in the fights, and then let's just make Benedetta and Hellcat do their things. Go to the back line, target the Lunas, target the Claude, target the Joyce, what if they can. And basically that's it. I mean, YG, I hate them for taking this Hellcat out. I think it's a crutch pick in my eyes. I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
it's bad because I use it as well in my rank games. It's basic. I use it as roam.
True.
So um yeah, it works, but I think it's so crucial that you find the weak point immediately if you're zone up against YG, but they couldn't do it for the longest time. That's why we ended it up on a 20-minute. But yeah, I'm just happy as well. I'm sad that Hellcat came out, but I'm happy that Benedetta was played in for
True.
YG. It was nice to watch.
Okay. Yes. Actually, I agree with you. First things first, when I saw the draft team zone, the one word that came up to my mind was greedy. Because you need to activate a
Yeah,
lot of their late game carries. You have your Claudia, you
yeah,
have
a
your
lot.
Lux. You need a lot of farm time for them, right? And I
Mm.
do agree with also with what you said as well. With the whole they have a gatot catcha, but they don't have any catch. Yeah,
Catch,
here, yeah,
yeah.
here. But then again, there's YC with the petrify. But then even then, that's a long ass cooldown, so
Yeah, it's
they
not
really
enough.
can't run it. But then
Mm.
on Yangon's Galacticos side, you have to give it to Helkert. Yeah, shout out Baloyski. Baloyski's probably, if I recall correctly, he's the first
You're
one to pull
insane.
off Helkert Rome, and
Yeah.
I think honestly, it's a hot take, but king of best of one picks is Helkert. Because it's just such a
Yeah.
nuisance to deal with. Like that's why they say bow one or best of ones is where the cheese picks, the last one, or the poison picks show up,
Yeah.
because you can address the Hellcurt in game number two, but then there's no
Yeah,
game
that's
number
true.
two after this. Hellcurt's just there, running amok, and then we're gonna that's gonna actually springboard to another conversation we're gonna have later regarding another Hellcurt pick, but we're not gonna get ahead of ourselves for that. But yeah, I agree with Bipoler. Everything with the team zones draft here needed to get online. They needed the time to get online, and they just lacked the catch. So with that
Yeah.
being said, if you could change one hero from team zones draft,
Ooh.
seeing the bans as well, who do you think you'd replace? Which role and which hero are you gonna replace it with?
Mm. Oh, that's hard, Miggy. They, I was thinking about Eve for Zone, but they were the ones to ban that out.
Yeah,
Um, that was their third ban. Oh yeah, there's not really a lot. There's not really a lot you could do. No, I think I wouldn't. No, I would change something,
yeah, you would.
but I still wouldn't because it could still work. You just have to really rely on these two heroes that are tanky, Gatot Kachin as well as YZ, to be the one to penetrate and to start off the fight. But yeah, I think it's okay, but I think I would have changed their bans
Oh,
because I would have given Lapu Lapu so that would so that Benedetta wouldn't be picked.
oh, okay.
Um this is a Baksha jungle, right? If
Yes,
I
that's Baksha
believe.
Jungle.
Yeah, so I would have opened up the Lapu Lapu and banned another thing so that YG is forced to use the Lapu Lapu here. Or even the Sora because hmm, yeah, I think I would still retain their draft pick. I would have just changed their bans.
I see. I
Because
see.
yeah, it's very difficult. It would have worked, but yeah, I think Zone was just not in the zone, that much to bat all out against YG.
Okay. Thank you for the insight. On my end, I know a Lunox is a pick to counter out the Harith. Usually that's the
Mm,
matchup. I'm thinking of probably changing it up, mixing it up. Maybe put Lunox in the gold lane. But then again, you're gonna be an all magic team with no push if that happens. But
yeah.
I'm also thinking a potential pick for here I'd replace would probably be mid. I would probably take Farsa as a weak-sided mid.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
this
that's
might
true.
be like a like weird thought process, but once you start seeing a feathered airstrike, it will elicit responses from the the heroes that can cancel out feathered airstrike. So you're gonna
Mm,
see Helkert going wild, probably panic ultiing, Backshot gonna roll, who's gonna roll in. So basically, Farsa's gonna be there to have at least she has a stun. She has her ulti, feathered airstrike, that will just zone everyone out. So
yeah.
basically, her job is to bait out all the skills and get out, and then stall the fight as long as possible. Their skills won't be online, but her feather airstrike will be. So that's probably it. That's probably what I change. If Lunox is out, I'd probably put Farsa in. And I'm pretty sure late game Harith can't jump around if there's no one else to peel for him. And with the burst
Mm.
that Farsa delivers and her mobility and crowd control, I think it's a better choice with again with the Lunox, especially with Team Zone lacking the catch in this matchup. And she scales, right?
Yeah, that's true. You know what, Miggy? I was about again. This
Yeah.
is people who are gonna be clowning on me. The people that know me very well. I would have actually taken out a Ruby here, just for
Ruby
that
Gold?
Ruby XP or Ruby Roam.
Ooh.
Um, just because you need that constant crowd control,
Yeah.
and but there's a Baksha on
Yeah, the
YG,
anti-heal.
so yeah, so that's why I was thinking a little bit. Um, I was 50-50 when I thought about it immediately when
Yeah.
you brought up a Lunox or Lunox Gold Lane. So yeah, it would have. Yeah, it's a hard draft. It's a hard game to draft. I think, Miggy. It's a
Yeah.
very hard game
It
to
is, it
draft.
is. Honestly agree. But then again, GG well played to Team Zone and Yang on Galacticos because it was a hard
Yeah,
fought game, a 20-minute game. We rarely see those unless it's like oh, except this one. There's a 29-minute game with Onyx versus Boostgate.
yeah.
18 minutes, 20 minutes, 27 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
14, 14, 16, and a 25. So give it
25.
like a 50-50 of
Mm.
both long and short matches. None ended under 12 minutes though, unlike the previous M series where everyone was just really lighting fast. I don't know why, but it was just that was just the play back then. And then moving
Yeah.
on, let's talk about round 2. This
Here
is
we go.
when we start seeing the 1-0s and the 0-1s fight each other. And again, it's a best of 1 still.
Yeah.
And the one that I want to talk about first with the 1-0s, I think it's the only one I want to highlight because everything else seems pretty, at least for on my end, I understand why they would have won.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Onyx versus Yangon Galacticos, and they lost. And it was a
Mm.
stomp.
Yeah. It
Yangon
was. It
Galacticos was
was.
40. It was a decisive victory for Yangon Galacticos. And we're looking at the draft. It was a 14-minute draft, by the way. 14-minute game with Yangon Galacticos winning. And
Mm.
Onyx played a pretty meta draft with Sora, Leomord, Farsa, Carry, and Gatot Kacha. They had enough catch, they had enough peel, and they made sure that their damage dealers are going to be safe guarded. And then Yaon Galacticos, on the other hand, they played a very good Valentina game because they have so many good ultis to steal. A Fanny in front of the Sky King himself,
Yeah.
Louis, Claude, and Hylos. Were you able to catch this game?
No, but I can see it happening already, Miggy.
Yeah.
Um, just from one pick. Actually, just from two picks.
Yeah, what picks are
Um,
those?
if you're looking at another hero that you can utilize in M7 that has been also slowly dominating, it's Fanny and as well as
Yeah,
Valentina, man.
true.
We talked about this before. If you pick up a Sora, you ultimately pick up a Valentina as well. So I think we're also kind of right in that in that space because it's I'm so shocked that these four matches, not just the one that we're talking about, Onyx and YG, are all less than 15 minutes,
Yeah,
except for one, for TLPH and Falcons. But that is like what 15 minutes and 6 seconds. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I gotta say, Onyx is, despite them, a big team. We love them to pieces.
true,
They are underperform. I gotta be honest, Miggy. They
true.
are underperforming and they're not at their best shape. That's all I'm gonna say.
Actually,
So I think YG
before
just caught
anything,
them.
this is
Mm,
an XP Valentina. I just want to put it out there. This is an XP Valentina.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because it's just me realizing it's like, wait, there's a Louis, and then there's an XP Valentina. But sorry, proceed with what you were saying, with how they were
No, no, yeah,
underperforming.
yeah. They've just been underperforming, man. Underperforming, man. Even yeah, especially yeah, what happened yesterday. Um, ultimately that was a shocker. That was the one that I really watched because I was excited to see Onyx play it out. It's a best of three, but
True.
no. And looking back at their performance right now, coming in from round two, it is very very crazy that they just lost like this in a way that I think no one could have imagined. But yeah, I think it. This is why we've been talking about this, Miggy. Other teams, other countries, other continents, and there's a lot of top contenders that you have to look out for. A lot of people are getting smarter, Miggy,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of teams are also just over too confident that that they cannot adapt anymore. And one of them for me is Onyx. So I think YG here, not surprised that Onyx lost, but I'm not surprised that YG won. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I completely get. I guess correct me if I'm wrong, but the way you're saying it is basically you feel that Onyx Indonesia is underperforming, but then again, it also makes sense that they lose to Yangon Galacticos because they have just been performing really well.
Yeah, it's like if Onyx lost, I'm surprised. But if YG won, I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're absolutely right, Nicky.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. I get it. The whole uh it's a nice game whether whichever team wins or loses, but it just happens to just be Onyx who loses. And I
Yeah.
think we mentioned draft. If there's a blatant error in the draft, I guess I guess I'm saying I guess because of course maybe their thought process is a lot more different because the Philippine meta is very different from the other regions, and
Yeah.
I guess the two underlying things, the ones you highlighted actually, are the ones I wanna bring up because it's the Eve and the Fanny that worked overtime in this match. Because if I'm looking at it, there's no catch for Fanny.
The
So
Valentina, you mean?
Fanny, no, there's no catch against the Fanny. So
You said Eve.
sorry, Valentina, the
Yeah.
Valentina and the Fanny, as you mentioned. Thank you for
Yeah.
correcting me. Yeah. So the Fanny has no way to get caught because as soon as the feather airstrike pops with no info on the Fanny could just go crazy. Carry
Yeah.
has no catch except you a hail mary with the nature, and then you buy and sell a winter crown, but that's the only time you're gonna actually survive Fanny as carry. And though they do have really good catch, just because they chose those types of catch, just because they chose that kind of utility casting, the Eve, the Valentina, I caught myself there. The Valentina has so many more ultis to steal. And
Yeah, so
they
much.
just have better global map presence or better map presence just because of having that Louis E. So you like a scenario would be you take feathered airstrike, you diversion play a Valentina behind their line, and then you just feather airstrike.
Yeah.
And then that pretty much messes up their game. With of course you only have if the Sora is not that tanky. As much as he is a fighter, he is not that tanky, and the way people build him, both in XP and in the gold lane, are vastly different. But whether it's tanky items or you pick up the anti-cuirasses, the Athena shield, you're not gonna be as tanky as other tanky bruisers because
Yeah.
it's a lot more of his scaling is in his damage. And well, he doesn't face check, he doesn't bush check. Gatot tends to not want to be the front line because he wants to be able to do a proper AOG. And Onyx just has no way to get information or get vision with their lineup, especially with how squishy their damage dealers are in the late game.
I'm also looking at it in a way that if you're if you're the roamer here for Onyx, right? I think any kind of roamer up against a lineup like this, who do you pick to taunt, Miggy? You have a Fanny that you want to prioritize, but you also have a problem of a Claude that you also want to prioritize of taunting.
True.
So, so I, so I think if you also didn't catch this matchup, I think you could have already guessed what is the mindset that is going on for the losing team here.
Yeah.
Because yes, if you caught the Claude with the help of the Leo Mort and as well as um the Sora from the backlines, right? And you get the Gatot Kacha from and if you taunt the the Fanny with the Gatot Kacha. Again, going back to your thought, the top two heroes that we're talking about here is Valentina and Fanny. So there's still a threat of an F in Valentina that is just gonna be copying the feathered airstrike. Even the Garrett Kacha is also a good pick right here. So there's so many things that you have to look out for if you're Onyx here up against YG. So it's a difficult match, and I think YG just really did have a great draft.
Yeah, honestly, this just goes to show how competitive, like how spicy the drafts get. Because
Yeah,
you wouldn't be thinking, if you were from a different region, you wouldn't be thinking, it's like, what? You have two mages? Like, from the get go, it's like, oh, it's an XP Valentina. It's the same way
yeah,
where XP Valentina rose when Lucas got implemented, and same goes with
yeah.
how Sora got implemented. And yeah, I think that's it. That covers Yangon, Onyx Indonesia versus Yangon game Galacticos, with Yangon Galacticos winning. And now let's highlight something from the 0-1.
Mm.
This one
Zi-
is uh, uh, I wasn't able to catch a lot of the games, but I do want to highlight the one and only win of Team Zone versus
yeah,
Boost Gate. And it was a stompy finish. They actually picked
yeah.
up from their learnings from YG, right? From a 20-minute game, they split the average. We'll go for 11 minutes this time. Were you able to catch this game as well, Bipolar?
Yeah, I'm so happy with what happened from Zone here. Just because they got the YSS, man. Man, I am telling you, Zone with YSS is just a different beast. Plus Bankai. I also said this before on our very first episode that I'll actually take out my notepad here. That the players to look out from Zone specifically, one of the heroes there is one of the players that you really should look out for there is Bankai. And him being MVP in this matchup really told everyone that Zone, despite them losing and getting out of the tournament, is still a force to be reckoned with when given the right heroes, the right draft, eh, um, and just the space and that mindset that they are gonna be winning up against these players. Because if you compare BGT and the other teams
Yeah.
that they went up against, BGT is not that big of a threat. Um,
Yeah.
maybe that's just me, but when you're up against, when they have that confidence and they have that power that they know that they can win at this point in time, they will just keep on going and everyone just popped off, Miggy. I am telling you, from the bands, from the picks, from the get-go, Zone 1 was so activated that it was so crazy to see.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at their draft. They are just early game central. This is not really early game central, but rather they wanna go hit your face really hard,
Yeah,
and they just did it.
in front of your face.
Yeah, because they know. I'm noticing Busquets' draft. Their timing, their scaling is just a bit. It's not a bit. It is slower. Because you're
Yeah,
running a triple damage dealing matchup. You need Granger to scale, and we know the big nerf on Granger scaling. How fast he can
yeah.
farm now has been affected. Kimmy being another farming laner, and Lancelot needing that early game snowball to actually take control of the game, which did not happen because they were able to just steamroll that because YSS is an early game monster. And I think the low 0-1s here, a lot of the games ended really quickly compared to
Yeah.
the previous games, except for the two games, which is Evil and DFYG. This one is I was surprised. I was surprised with this honestly. The Evil and DFYG game was surprised that it actually went that long and that Evil still won because you're looking at a Freya gold lane. And yes,
Mm.
Innocent played it. Sorry, Al played it. It kind of worked. But then you already know that when you pick a Freya, you're on a timer.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
they were still able to win with a really good clash. They were able to deal with all the crowd control, especially with Kalea's Tsunami Slam and Throne of Ruin, right, from Alice.
Yeah, that's true.
They were able to
You're
just
right.
deal with all that crowd control and they were still able to come up on top with their lineup. Because this is honestly, this is a very unorthodox, off meta, let's say, draft because you're running a Faramis, you're running a Freya, you're running an Arlot and Grok. This is
Yeah.
not this your only thing the only hero that scales to like mid game. Late game is questionable. Would probably be the YSS. And even then, right? If you're shut down early, you're not gonna have a good game. You're not gonna have a good mid game and everything. So I was
Yeah.
surprised that Evo won with DFYG. With especially with how much crowd control and late game potential DFYG has.
Yeah. In a 20-minute game, you expect like Lancelot, Lunox, Alice, even Carrie, right?
Yeah.
To dominate that scene. But somehow, Evil, with their multiple crowd controls, they got out with a win, man. But yeah, and this is where we can really dive in towards poison picks, right? You know,
Yeah.
what we call lason picks here in the Philippines. Even from like other tournaments, even from like low tier C, tier D tournaments, Freya has always been that kind of hero that you rely on to win a best of one.
Yeah.
So for Evo to get this already, it's not a surprise that they did win. But yeah, the timer could have been better for them because they could have won it in what, like 14 minutes, 12 minutes, so that this carry, this Lunox could not be activated
Yeah.
as much as they are in this 20-minute game. But yeah, I guess they got out with a very, very lucky 20-minute game, Miggy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I guess that closes out our round two. Round three, I feel, is what we're gonna be talking about a lot or mostly, because this is where, honestly, the highlight of Swiss stage for me
Yeah.
was with the high two zeros facing off with each other. Yeah, Alter Ego, Yangon Galacticos, that's a given. Personally, I feel that that was a given. It was the SRG versus TLPH
Yeah.
game because it was
Ay,
a
ay.
wild game. We saw so many highlights worthy of grand finals because
Yeah.
we saw a Savage from Innocent on the Sora Gold and then they proceeded to lose the game. But they won the series in the end, right? It was
Yeah.
hard fought and everything, but I just want to highlight, I guess my thoughts and my notes for this game was Team Liquid in game number 3,
Mm-hmm.
they played not to lose rather than playing to win. So if you understand that
Yeah.
concept, basically they're just trying to survive because it's not really their fault mostly. It really had something to do with the draft because since they chose the Granger, yes, Granger scales are late game, 27 minutes, but they had no way to address the Uranus pick. They did
Yeah.
not have enough burst, they did not have enough damage. No one was a Trinity builder. So they could not deal with Uranus just steamrolling through them, just cutting waves. And we were in episode 1, we were a lot of both of us were like Uranus haters. It's like he doesn't do anything. He's just tanky. He has no job. And then turns out SRG proved us otherwise. That he has a job. Look, Granger can't kill him. Granger has no Sky Piercer stacks. I'm fine. I'm surviving. That's my job. It's basically if it's not a Trinity building gold laner, I'm surviving this game. I'm the one who's gonna frontline and soak up all that damage. So yeah, this was just a game full of highlights. I can't remember right now top of my head, but those were the stuff that actually like clung on to me. How about you, Bipolar? What were your thoughts on this best of 3 series?
I mean, yeah, there's so much to talk about this game wise, but for me, I actually want to highlight Coach Arcady here for
Okay.
SRG. Um, because the draft, man, it's just insane. Um, from the very first game, TLPH or Team Liquid did win, but you saw there's there's not really a, how do you say this? Um, there's no holes in their draft for SRG. If you get what I mean,
Yeah.
you have a multi-layered draft that TLPH is capable of penetrating, but not to an extent. Not really. No, no. Erase. They have a multi-layered draft, but it's not that easy to penetrate, even if you're Team Liquid,
Yeah.
because let's look at the third game. Basically, right? 27 minutes. You talked about this. If there's no Trinity builder, Uranus has a purpose in the game.
Yeah.
And that's basically to be annoying. To be the annoyance for your for the team fight, for to be the one to give vision, to be the one to actually see where these players are positioned. And that just gives so much space for the CC gold lane to prosper, Miggy. In my eyes, gold lane CC versus a Granger, absolutely, this is already a win for the CC, man.
Yeah.
Because
Agree.
if you don't pressure the CC early on with this high loss, with this Lancelot, he is gonna be, or she, this CC will just keep on steamrolling this Granger. And mind you, TLPH has one of the best code laners in the world. But if you're up against a CC, a mismatch that you cannot win that easily, you are bound to lose. So just look at that, man. Plus you have an Eve that is their team fight alone. No one can get in. This Lancelot cannot do anything, Miggy. This Hayabusa, all he has to do is penetrate the backlines, focus this Granger if this Uranus could not get in that position. Or when you see the Feather Airstrike, that's what you focus. And this is something that I also noticed on Sunday, Miggy. And
Yeah.
I'm just so happy that SRG picked this as well. Hilda, we didn't talk about this a lot, Miggy.
Yeah. Actually.
From episode 1, Hilda is an unsung hero. The- yeah, yeah. If Sora is a 50-50 kind of hero, Hilda wins you games. Like 90% of the time. Look at game number 1. Hilda was picked by Team Liquid, and JP, man oh man. It's just, if I'm right, this is JP's hero.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a Rome Hilda.
So so I'm telling you, 90% out of the 9 out of 10 times, Hilda will win you games out of nowhere just because of the pressure that it applies in the early game, mid game, and even on the late game. Despite her not having a lot of damage, there's still a lot you can do with the Hilda, and that just won their team. And yeah, shout out to Coach Arcadia from SRG.
Yeah, actually, because you brought up the draft before, because you brought up the coaches. I'm looking at it. Actually, both teams only reuse two heroes in their three drafts. For SRG, it's both Soras,
Yeah.
with one win and one loss, and then on Team Liquid's side, it's Farsa with one win, one loss as well. But I do agree
Mm.
with you with the Hilda Rome. Such a nuisance right now, even in the ranked games. And
Yeah.
the big difference of how Hilda is being played now versus how Hilda was being played in previous patches, they don't run Revitalize anymore. A lot of them run
Yeah.
Flicker now because
Yeah.
they can utilize the damage increase or damage buff you get from popping out of the bush, and
Yeah.
they use the Flicker to set up a catch with their using the Flicker to set up a catch with her ulti. She just has a lot more crowd control capabilities now, and it's better as instead of just being annoying, you're now being annoying with damage.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Agree, agree.
Uh, I have to also we have to also talk about this, Biggie.
Yeah.
We also said this in episode one. Um, Map modes doesn't really matter anymore,
Ooh.
except I guess if it's expanding rivers. And right now, I still believe in that because when you look at dangerous grass, what hero immediately puts up into your mind? Hilda, right?
Hilda.
But Hilda isn't played in dangerous grass in this best of three. It's all mobility kind of like map modes, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really even get utilized most of the time except for the expanding rivers. So I really think if you're an up and coming coach, right, or an up and coming team, it's not because last season ago or last meta ago, when we look at map modes, immediately we look at heroes that cater to that map mode. But now, no. It's all about team fight. It's all about rhythm. It's all about getting that early game to mid game to late game kind of pressure and utilizing that just like what happened before we introduced map modes into MLBB. So yeah, that's just crazy to think about because you don't you don't have to cater to map modes anymore. You have to play for your own liking. Again, going back to comfort picks, you have to look at heroes that you want to play, that you can play very, very well, despite not even despite the map not giving you an advantage.
Yeah, actually, I guess we've gotten to a point where people understand the map changes as concepts. So it's not really
Yeah.
okay. So dangerous bush. I'm gonna get a Tigreal. I'm gonna get a Hilda. I'm gonna get someone who utilizes the bush. Maybe
Yeah.
Selena as well. But then you start realizing, okay, it's dangerous bush. This is how I'm gonna be moving around the map. This is how our team's gonna play now. So it's more of
Yeah.
not. It's not being. It's not a non-issue, but rather teams have developed. Teams have evolved to understand that they don't have to adjust their draft. They just have to adjust their gameplay because
Yeah.
gameplay is what wins games. And with a draft, a draft or a 50-50 draft, if
Mhm.
you can play it properly in a given situation, chances are you're going to be winning 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And I guess the other stuff here is so okay. So this is the point actually in the Swiss stage where we have best of threes and best of ones. Once
Yep.
a team wins twice or a team loses twice, they go into either promotions or elimination. So once you hit the 3-0 mark, you immediately advance to the knockout stage. And once you hit the 0-3 mark, you are eliminated. And sadly, we lost both, right? Boostgate Esports and DFYG are both China representatives, if I recall correctly. Is it?
Yeah, I'll,
It's
I'll check. I'll
Boostgate.
check
Let
for
me
you.
check. Let me check as well. No, sorry. It is a
China
Turkey.
and
Turkey?
Turkey.
Yeah,
Yeah, Turkey.
China and
EU.
Turkey.
EU.
Yeah. So sadly, they had to go because, of course, that is what happens when you're at 0-2. Aside from that, really there personally I felt that whoever won in the 1-1s are the ones who were actually winning. But then I caught this. Team Spirit versus
Yeah,
Onyx. I'm a Kid Bomba fan, so I was happy to see this. But this just reiterates your point that you mentioned, where Onyx is just not in tip top shape, even when they
yeah.
are in home court. We have to remind you guys,
Yes.
Onyx Indonesia is in home court, so there is supposed to be an advantage because they are playing in home soil. They are playing in Jakarta, Indonesia. So were you able to catch this game as well, Bipolar, with the Team Spirit versus
Yeah.
Onyx? Of course.
It's a Kid Bomba Fest, brother. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, Onyx, man, I love you. But Team Spirit, yeah, I'm absolutely right. TS Team Spirit, man. They played so well.
True.
I'm so happy for Kid Bomba, man, and the rest of the squad. It was amazing to watch.
Yes, sir. With the whole, he is the MVP, and but I wanna put out a shout out as well to One Shot, the current jungler of Team Spirit. If you've
Hmm.
seen his highlight reels, even before M series, there was a game where he just as Suyu did a savage. All his teammates were down. Enemy team was actually going for the throne, the base, and he wiped them all out, thus
Yeah, I saw
securing
that. Yeah.
the game. But One Shot has just been very consistent. Though they won a few matches, they lost a few matches. I would keep my eye out on, of course, Kid Bomba. It's kind of given that Kid Bomba is gonna perform, right. But then One Shot, I think he's the newest addition to Team Spirit. He just performed.
Yeah.
He is a very consistent jungler. I see him play really consistently in a lot of his games. He stayed true to his patterns. He knows how to play weak-sided jungler and strong-sided jungler. So
Yeah.
just goes to show he is on the Leomord. Leomord has been popping off as well. And well, actually there's a Bruno. There was a Bruno that got picked, but then of course right now it personally I feel like it's just not in in his element. And well,
Yeah.
they really looked to knock out. I did not catch the bans, but they were really looking. They were really eyeing shutting down Skylar in the game because we're seeing a lot of
Mm.
targeted bans for him. We saw the Claude, the Lunox, and the carry, so that immediately takes
Yeah.
out a lot of the hero pool for them, for the gold laners, especially with the Granger. Yes, Granger is still here because it's a comfort pick, but just goes to show. Sometimes it's just the Kid Bomba show.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's Kid Bomba. That's
Enough
basically it.
said.
It's Kid Bomba.
And then moving on, we are now in the round fours. Sadly, people are gonna be advancing, and sadly, people are gonna be eliminated because again,
Mhm.
1-2, 1-3. Aurora Turkey versus Falcons. I predicted Aurora Gaming Turkey winning, and actually, the ones who won are the ones I expected to win, or I was happy would win. And sadly, our boy, the best boys, Team Zone, had to say their farewell as they lost to CFU. But again, they did not lose for nothing, or they did put up a good fight because that's a 70-minute game and a 23-minute game. Though they did
Yeah.
not win or secure the victory at the end. But aside from that, do you have anything you want to highlight for round four Bipolar?
Nah, I'm good, man. I feel like if we talk about these teams that just got, it's gonna be a sad, sad time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy though that there is some limelight here for CFU, and as well as Onyx
Yeah.
because they came out with a clean 2-0. So some light of day for those teams.
Yeah, honestly, again, this just goes to show how competitive every region in in the Philippines, in the world is getting. They're getting so competitive. They're just matching up with like the household names. You can see that there's a bit of intimidation, of course, when they're facing off with these household names, these veterans. But it doesn't mean that they stop showing off or popping off because they still put up a good
Yeah.
fight. So GG's to them as well. But of course, we ended it with round five, with teams that we were surprised who would they'd still be there. Specifically,
Yeah.
Team Spirit and Onyx. And I caught a glimpse of the Onyx versus Team Falcons game. It was a scary. It
It's
was
very
like a
scary.
scary game. Like honestly, it was like back and forth. I wasn't expect like at a given moment in time when I was watching the series, I had an inkling, like I had a thought that Team Falcons might actually eliminate Onyx Indonesia from
Mhm.
the M series before the knockouts, and we saw that it was a give and take, except for the 50. The it was a stomp, except for the second match. But of course, they fought tooth and nail for that. We saw glue. I was happy to see
Yeah.
Patrick as well, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's Onyx versus Team Falcons for you. Again, up and coming, though Mena has been a mainstay here in the MLBB pro scene, they are still a young region comparative to Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore, and a bit of
Yeah.
Thailand. But yeah, do you have anything you want to highlight for round five before we get on to knockout stage?
I mean, I actually want to highlight Mirko here because he casted Falcons and Onyx, and it was really really fun to watch.
Ooh,
Yeah, shout out to you, Mirko.
shout out Mirko. Hope to cast with you soon.
Hopefully, man.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
hopefully. So with that being said, yeah, we talked a lot of losses and eliminations because yeah, the ones who lost in round five have been sadly eliminated. But GG well played
Mm-hmm.
to them because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of skill to get to the M series. So even though you fell a little short, it doesn't mean that you guys suck. It means you guys have a lot more learning to do. It just means that there's more skills, more opportunities to level up your gameplay. So GG's to you
Yes, sir.
guys. Of course, thank you for the amazing matches. And with that being said,
Yes. Woo!
we are now moving on to our knockout stages. I was able to
Here we
catch all
go.
of them. I was able to catch all of them. And with the first one, it's not in sequence here, but we're going to talk about the first one being Team Liquid Philippines versus Aurora Philippines. So we're going to be talking a
Yeah.
lot about these games. This was my take on this was Aurora Philippines was in their element. This is a best of three.
Yeah.
They are known to have really creative and good drafts in 3 game series. And it just goes to show that they were able to successfully knock out their fellow Philippine representative down to the lower brackets with a very powerful showing with a Freya gold lane that did not
Yes,
work, but then
sir.
they decided, I think we can run it back. And they did. And it was we saw Edward on very a lot of their comfort picks. Demon Kite showing us a variety of how versatile his hero pool is. Yue being ever consistent, and Doming Kite being that young gun that just refuses to go fall to the Filipino sniper. And with
Yeah.
Light, this is his first ever M series showing, and he performed. He showed up with his show. He showed up with his grok, and honestly, GG well played. But of course, on the side of Liquid, I hopefully they climb up to the grand finals. But the predictions are for later.
For
For
later.
later. But I did enjoy the knockout stage debut of Lilia, and that's the game that they won. Because
Yeah.
honestly, I feel that Lilia Loki is a pretty good mage in our meta right now. Your take,
Yeah.
Bipoler.
I mean, especially if you're up against heroes that are very like melee range, very in front of your face. I mean, you have Esmeralda, you have Hylos, and as well as this Freya that are not going to be doing a lot up against this Lily, right? This Lily is just going to be applying a lot of damage, stacking up all of that burst potential, and just killing you right off the bat. So Aurora was destined to lose the second matchup once that Lilia came out, and you have very very tanky heroes and no counters at all for their very very mobile lineup. I just gotta say, Rora looking pretty good and looking even more or looking hungrier than Team Liquid right now.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm happy for Light, man. I'm happy for Light. I'm really really happy for that kid, just because Rora a lot. I gotta be we have to be honest. A lot of backlash for Aurora, right? When they came into this tournament.
Yeah.
Um, so for them to take out Team Liquid, not really take out, but put Team Liquid in a place that is very very scary, lower brackets, right? It's amazing that Aurora are proving everyone wrong. Domenkite is looking pretty good. Again, Light, Edward looking pretty nice as well. So I don't want to say a lot because it's for predictions, Miggy.
Yeah.
All I gotta say, the things that I would have said or should be for later, for the last segment of the day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I guess with that being said, let's move on to our next match, which was Aurora Gaming Turkey versus Yangon
Yep.
Galacticos. Truly, they were both hard fought matches. They were able to get to the 20-minute mark. Honestly, I'm happy. I'm happy to see Aurora Turkey win this series because it just goes to show how much growth they've had from their really good showing in the MSC. And now
Yeah.
they're still showing that they could put up a fight because people say, of course, Aurora has two teams. They are the lesser Aurora because they're not from the Philippines. They're not from a very competitive region. But it just goes to
Yeah.
show that even their draft is not as orthodox or as meta as you would say with in comparison to Aurora Philippines. But you get to see they have their own spin to it. They have their own turkey flavor.
Yeah.
So that's why they ran the Freya as well as Aurora did. But then they also ran a CC. And then again, here we go with the Hilda. The Hilda you mentioned that if you run a Hilda, you're winning games. And that just
Yeah.
goes to show that they did with the 2-0. A hard fought 2-0, but a 2-0 nonetheless. How about you, Bipoler?
I mean, you have to look at the MVP as well here, right? Yeah, TNZ. TNZ was just given a hero that he can perform very well on.
True.
Yisun Shin on TNZ is amazing to look at, and um, you have Pagu as well, right? It's Pagu, the roamer.
Yeah.
Giving them these kind of heroes that are so in front of your face, despite you having Esmeralda in the first game, despite you having Uranus on the first game, and even a Valentina up against a Kaler, right? He played very well up against YG. So um 2-0 was expected, but for these two teams to battle 20 minutes, actually insane to watch.
Agree, agree. And with that being said, we move on to our third series of last Sunday, being SRG versus Team Spirit. Honestly, it hurt to see one of
Yeah.
my two favorite teams fight each other, but it was a great show. It was a great showing
Yeah.
for SRG because basically played the same game, the same draft, except for their XP laners. But I have to address the elephant in the room. They saw
Mm.
how crazy Stormy went with the Farsa.
Yes.
Game one, zero deaths, and they still proceeded to give Stormy his
The
Farsa,
Forza.
who had zero deaths again in game number two. I just don't get
Ay,
it. Because they had all the choices, and then this is where Hilda gets her loss record, win record affected because they both played a Hilda. Team Spirit played Hilda both games.
yeah. They did Team Spirit really just didn't respect Storm here with his Farsa. It's just crazy to see. I was also sad because Kagura lost. My girl Kagura is just getting beaten to a pulp in M7 right
Showed up
now.
in knockouts though,
But
right?
yeah, I mean, but I like you said it yourself, Miggy. It's the same draft. Why didn't Team Spirit do something about this draft? Like, come on. One player was zero deaths in that round. You couldn't do anything with a glue and a joy with their mid laner. Why didn't you adapt? Why didn't you change anything? It's just crazy. It's SRG at the end of the day, but Team Spirit, wake up,
Yes,
guys! Come
yes.
on.
That was one. But then you gotta give it to Stormy. Showed a really good a master class on how to play Farsa.
Yeah,
Every ulti had
expertise,
reason. It wasn't just like I'ma just
zoning.
press it
Oh,
off
yeah,
cooldown for fun. La, la, la,
yeah.
la. No, he was like, I'm gonna position here because I know they're gonna be coming from here. The predictions, the 200 IQ plays from Stormy. So GG, well played. Sad to see Team Spirit go down to the lower brackets, but happy to see SRG, there's a chance. There's a fighting chance. And fun fact, I'm not sure if it's true. Maybe it's a rumor going on, but people say SRG is really strong right now. It's because their scrim partners tend to be Team Liquid Philippines. So that's why their
Mm.
games go on and on like that. As if they are that fated rivals. If you back then had Echo versus Blacklist as the heated rivals or Blacklist versus Bloodthirsty Kings, this is, I think, this generation or this season's fated rivalry, which is TLPH versus SRG. And honestly, super, super cool to see them be very skilled. Shout out to our Filipino representatives from there as well, Cram
Yeah,
and Innocent. But of course, you gotta give it to them. They just played a hell of a game. They didn't even have to do a show of versatility of their. They're saving it for grand finals, right? They're saving their tech for
yeah.
grand finals. But dang, when I was just watching Story, I felt sorry for Team Spirit. Story's like, I'm just getting Team Spirit was being bullied by Farsa, and it hurt to watch, but it was a great watch as well if you're a mid player, a mage player who really enjoys playing Farsa. Maybe if you guys have the time, review his gameplay, and you might learn a thing or five from his Farsa
Yeah.
gameplay. And moving on, the Alter Ego versus Onyx two
Well,
zero knockout stage, knockdown. Alter Ego, always known as second best in the region against Onyx ID. And then they proved that it's all for learning. It's either you win or you learn. They downloaded Onyx ID and they came out with a 2-0. Bipolar, what are your thoughts before I get to mine?
I mean, you already clicked at the draft, right? Ay, ay, ay.
The moment we've
Uh,
been waiting for, the Hellcurt conversation.
yeah. Alter Ego, I'm so happy for them, man. Right? They just, I feel like what happened before was really just a prep for M7. It kind of looked that way. So, um, very hard fought. It's a different draft for both of these games. Once again, the Hilda didn't prove well. It looks like in the knockout stage, Hilda doesn't really do a lot, but it's kind of a 50-50 at this point. But once again, you go for a Onyx, just like it's YG, right? That prioritizes Hellkurt, if I believe, in their
Yep.
lineup as their cheese pick. But you're picking Hellkurt, Moskov, Alice. Man, there's no combination in that team. There's no team fight at all. I am telling you. It ended up at 24 minutes, but I already knew once Hellkurt was picked, this is a lost game for Onyx. Uh, Plus, they had a Fanny. You know what? Fanny and a Hellkurt is a good matchup. Even if you're a Roamer Hellkurt, it's so good. You just have to hit your skills. It's hard, but you have to hit it. But it's doable. But Onyx didn't. I'm about to say the worst things that you could hear in the entire world right now, Miggy.
It was doo
But yeah,
doo.
yeah, it was just doo doo. It was just a downfall after downfall. I'm so happy for Alter Ego, but for Onyx, man, if I was screaming at Team Spirit to wake up, Onyx, man, it looks like
You
you're
gotta
just
revive them.
yeah, you are asleep. You have been asleep for the entirety of the tournament so far.
Yes. Imagine the fall of Onyx. But it's not yet over. They still have a lower bracket run. But my thoughts on this, I share the same. I share the same sentiments with Bipoler here. The backshot was good. The Fanny has their catch for Fanny. The Moskov is there for Fanny as well. I just feel that they lack the gameplay because honestly, game one did not look so bad. It seemed like a very even game. I was surprised with the Gwyn pick. I felt that
And they're so fun. Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I felt that Onyx was gonna win the first game because Onyx team composition scaled better than Alter Egos. But then they adjusted the lack of damage by building the Guinevere as a damage dealing jungler. As what
Yeah.
we're used to be Guinevere be a jungle Guinevere tends to build on the tankier side. But
Yeah.
the jungle Gwyn of Alter Ego was played a damage dealer. So they had enough damage and Alter Ego played the Gwyn very well. Honestly, able to proc all those the stunts, the knockups, and everything, all the crowd control, and the damage was really just on point. My issue with game number two, honestly, I feel that the Helker could have worked. It could have worked.
It could have. Yeah. It could have.
It could have worked. They had the damage for the Ura. They had the control for the Fanny. My big concern was their gameplay. We mentioned that the map the map type or map mode actually does not really affect the gameplay. Because honestly, if
Mhm.
it's ironically enough, Helkert and Hilda can utilize dangerous
Yeah.
grass the most, and they lost on it, right?
Yeah.
But I feel that Kiboy's Helkert gameplay was lacking in a sense that he was playing very selfishly. So I know that if you guys watched the game, basically Helkert was there to segue or cut side lanes. But he played it very greedy. Knowing that there was a Fanny on the other team, he would greedily clear a full wave instead of chipping damage and then going back to connect with the team.
Yeah.
So what happens was, immediately the team would be -1, so it'd be a 4v5 versus cutting the wave enough to get a to get a to get a response from the
Breathe,
Fanny.
maybe.
Yeah. See, even then, the match that I'm talking about, it's emotionally affecting my health. But but yeah, the Fanny getting a response from the Fanny, telling their team that okay, comms, Fanny's here. You use your ulti or you find a way to get back to your team, and now it's shifted to a 5v4 in favor of your team.
Yeah.
So I feel that if Onyx played it right, the Helker would have been the answer. But it just goes to show how much gameplay really matters in a draft. And that's my take for Alter Ego versus Onyx. And now we are looking at the matchups. But we'll talk about that later.
Later.
So we're now getting to our favorite segment. So just
Let's go.
to bring it up, Aurora Gaming beat Alter Ego beat Onyx for 2-0.
Yep.
Aurora Philippines beat TLPH 2-1. SRG versus Team Spirit. SRG won by 2-0. Aurora Gaming versus Yangon Galacticos 2-0 as well. So it was a pretty competitive matches, honestly. None of them ended quickly. A lot of them were just fighting their hearts out. And with that being said, of course, we were discussing a lot about the drafts and meta. So for this part or this segment of the podcast, I want for both of us Bipoler,
Yeah.
we should have 3 takes. So 3 takes of how the meta. First one is how the meta is looking.
Yeah.
How the meta look like, how the meta is looking, and how you think the meta will evolve. So I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
On my end, the meta was looking like it was leaning towards a very early game centric game because of the fighters, right? We were seeing a lot more of the fighters. We were seeing a lot more of the, but then we slowly shifted into a marksman versus marksman, marksman versus marksman, very, very traditional. People were playing their comfort heroes before the Swiss stage. Come Swiss stage, best of ones were still happening, so people were still playing comfort. People were still playing cheese picks. But as soon as the both threes started rolling out, so for the first one, the meta was looking like it's just a whole bunch of cheese. When best of threes started showing up, we started seeing teams experiment a lot more. We started seeing a lot more matchups between fighters and gold laners, marksmen.
Yeah.
We are seeing a lot more utility heroes, but we're still leaning towards the assassin junglers. So we are looking at a team fight heavy meta right now. And for best of fives or the upcoming, my prediction is we're gonna see a lot more late game lineups. So from
Yeah.
early game to sudden 50-50s between matchups wherein it's burst versus utility mid laners, fighters versus marksmen. Of course, XP lane is still an island. Assassins versus tanks, your utility junglers. Come the best of fives, we're seeing a lot more late game centric lineups. So we're gonna be seeing a lot more scaling heroes. Because based on the picks, a lot of teams are leaning towards prolonging the game to at least secure their victory and to drain their opponents of their energy. How about you?
I mean, for me, if we the meta right now is SRG's meta.
Yeah.
Just my take. So if you want to win games, copy how SRG and how Coach Arcadia drafts for SRG.
Agree. True, true,
Um,
true.
that's basically how I will attack this conversation right now. What was the next two, Miggy?
From where the meta evolved to how the meta is looking now.
Okay. For where I feel like at the starting point everybody was experimenting, and now that everybody knows how to attack certain types, they're going back to comfort picks as well.
Okay.
Because for me, I thought Lapu Lapu wouldn't be picked as often as it is played right now.
Okay.
I thought we were gonna be focusing on heroes that haven't been nerfed or have been buffed more. I thought we were gonna be seeing a lot more glue, but no, Lapu Lapu has been picked 24 times. 16th, it's in the 16th place and it has a 50% win rate. So I feel like everybody was experimenting before, but now after learning those experimentations, they are still going for the comfort strategy but applying like 20% from the experimentation phase that they
Yeah.
did at the start of M7. So I think it's a mix of both worlds, but 80% on comfort strategy on how they were accustomed before M7, and just the addition of Sora and the addition of heroes like Claude as well. So yeah. And the next one, Miggy, I forgot again.
How will the
Holy
meta
Mother of
look
God.
like?
Okay. How the meta will look like? A lot will rely on early engagements with the roamers.
Okay.
And yeah, scaling heroes as well from the mid lane and the late game. I think those three roles will take more contribute will give more contributions um to the gameplay that we will be seeing up until the finals. That's why I'm also predicting that we will have a 40-minute game.
Ooh, hot take right there. Hard predict. But yeah, I guess we are in alignment of how we
Bang bang
saw
bang.
the draft was and what the meta the meta was, the meta is, and the
Mhm.
meta is gonna be. Because I feel that it's gonna be really dependent on your late game carries, your mid laners, your gold laners,
Yeah.
and but of course their job will not reach or their timings will not reach there if your laners, your roam and your junglers and your XP laners are not as active as you want them to be. And with that being
Yeah.
said, we're doing our second to
Woo!
the last part of the podcast. This is our meta M7 top picks. Where
Okay.
on this side, this is our this was our
Previous
Swiss
ones.
stage. Now we are looking at knockouts.
Woo!
Though we
Here we
had
go.
our favorites and whatnot, we were not expecting. What are we revising for this one? So, Bipolar, what are your takes on the gold? Who are your top three picks in any order?
I'll go Claude first.
Okay, Claude,
I'll put CC.
CC.
Then I did put Carry there, right?
Yeah,
But no,
Harith
I
and
wouldn't
Gary.
put Carry there anymore.
Ooh.
I know I did put Harith there, but what's funny enough, actually, looking at what we predicted last time, Harith was played so much um from the teams before, but now it's not.
Harith got
Like
played
it's
15 times. 5 out of 10.
y-
5
yeah, but
wins, 10 losses.
yeah, but not as often as these heroes that are in the mix anymore. I'll put it's between Carry and as well as Granger.
You gotta pick one.
Um because I think Carry will be banned a lot.
That
So
wouldn't that
they
make it a
will
top pick if it always banned that these people are prioritizing carry?
yeah, that's why, but I think but you can also think of it in a way that Granger will be picked more because they cannot pick Carry. So it's kind of like that, you know.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So is a top pick technically a top ban? If it's a top ban, does it not make it a top pick? Because if we're
That
looking
in
at
my
it
eyes,
here,
no.
Carry got banned. Actually, Carry got banned 19 times. The most bans is Kalea, Grok, Zushiz, Sora, and Eve. At 65, 61, 59, 58, 55, 51.
Yeah.
Claude got banned a
You
lot
know what?
more.
You know what? I'll put Granger there so that everybody will go and get their M7 passes.
Right. Let's go. By the way, guys, Granger is the hero for the M7 pass. So if
Yes.
you want it,
Yes.
it's a pretty cool skin. The dragon effects are pretty fire.
MLBB sponsor us.
Yeah. Hopefully, Moonton, please.
Munton, please.
Next up, I think I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna put Gary on my end. I'm still gonna put Claude. Of course, Claude is still the dominant marksman right now because of that fighter
Mhm.
emblem buff. We gotta
Yeah.
that just sustains his lane so much better. I'd put in. I'd still put in Carry because Carry is such a viable pick. Still very prioritized, I'd say, in the current meta. Here's where I'm gonna change. So I'm not gonna put CC anymore. I'm gonna put Sora. Sora has been
Mm.
putting up a really good show. It's a solid flex pick. It could be
Yeah.
played both in XP and in the gold lane. And there was a team that that ran. I think in the knockouts, one of the teams. I'm trying to remember which one. I think Alter Ego. Alter Ego played both CC and Sora, with CC being in the gold lane and Sora being in the XP lane. So that just goes to show how well that it flexes, right? So since I
Yeah.
put Sora in gold, I will not put Sora in the XP lane anymore. So
Okay.
with that being said, our Bipolar's top knockouts top 7 M7 picks are Claude, CC, Granger, while I on the other hand stay true and committed to Carry still being viable and still putting that Granger hate where it is. Claude, Carry, and Sora. Sora is my new addition
Mm.
instead of CC. Moving on to the jungle, I think it pretty much stayed the same. I still want. My only difference is. Actually, I'm gonna be changing a few just because I saw how it unfolded. My first one is Yi Sun Shin, of course, is still viable. I'm gonna agree with Bipolar here and put that Lancelot is a priority because that is the 50-50. If you're getting a YSS, you
Yeah.
get a Lancelot. But instead of Fredrin, a lot of people are preferring Baksha. So I'm gonna put in the Baksha. Just because of that
Mm.
utility with healers being back. Baksha just fits that hole a lot better. How about you, Bipolar? What are your top 3 picks for the jungle?
Actually, I'll be going another way here. I'll still put
Oh,
YSS in
okay.
number 1. Okay. Okay, let me cook. Let me cook.
Okay, okay. Chef Bipoler in
Um,
the house, in the kitchen.
let me cook. Yeah, let me cook. Um, put Joy
Joy.
on the second one.
Ooh, still a priority. Huh?
Um, actually, this is not my jungle is not tiered. Huh? I'm
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. Of course,
thinking
of
of
course.
heroes.
By the way, guys,
I'm
so our
between.
tiers are not ranked in any order. These are just our top
Yeah.
three.
So you can basically just like it's all number one for us.
Yeah.
Um, I'm between Hayabusa and as
Okay.
well as Fredrin. If you took out Fredrin, I'm gonna put him in.
Okay.
But I'm still thinking it's really it's really assassin centric most of the time. So I'll
Really,
put
right?
Hayabusa. I'll still put Hayabusa there.
Okay.
But honorable mention for Fredrin. Yeah,
Oh.
honorable mention for Fredrin.
Unsung hero, Fredrin. So we're looking at our picks right now. Bipolar's picks are looking very MPL Philippines Season 15 coded with the assassins.
Yeah, I don't want to do it, but it's kind of leaning that way.
Yeah, I
I
know,
don't know
right? And
why.
by the way, these guys, these C3 heroes have received significant nerfs. And it just goes to
Yeah,
show that they're still making an impact in our current meta. While I, on the
it's
other hand,
crazy.
went with a mix of everything. We got the Yisun shit, we got a marksman, we have an assassin, and we have a tank, a utility jungler. And I think that's what it kind of represents my thoughts on M7 with it being like mishmash of all the metas because you're suddenly seeing fighter versus gold, mage versus fighter versus marksman, marksman versus mage, mage versus mage. It's just a mishmash. Even
Mm,
assassins versus utilities versus fighters versus marksmen in the jungle. Just goes to show, right? Heck, you're seeing
yeah,
Valentina back in the XP lane, right?
yeah. Uh, talking about the XP lane, Miggy, that's
Yeah.
what's next.
Yes,
So,
moving on. So, reiterate, those are our top three picks. For me, it's Yisun Shin, Lancelot Baksha. Bipolars is Yisun Shin, Joy, and Hayabusa. Moving on to the XP lane. Bipolar, what are your top three picks?
immediately, Yuzong or
Yes, sir.
Yuzhong, YZ,
Okay.
Valentina.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm still I don't know. I'm between three heroes here. I'm still a non-Sora believer,
Oh,
despite
no.
him having a good win percentage. I just think that there's a lot more good thing, a lot more better heroes, than him. And despite me not liking this hero, I'll actually put Uranus there.
Ooh. I hate to agree with you. But yeah, I agree with you too. Yu Zhong is gonna be here. I think Uranus is gonna be here. Especially, I get it, because people are. It's actually a pretty cool insight that you mentioned that carry's always banned, so they're forced to pick the Granger. And what counters
Right?
Granger? A Granger that can't scale, a Uranus. But my difference here is gonna be Valentine. I'm still sticking by my Lapu.
Oh yeah,
Lapu Lapu.
I would have actually put Lapu-Lapu there. If it was five, I'd put Lapu-Lapu in that mix,
Agree. A Lapu
and then
Lapu in
Sora.
blue would be mine probably.
Oh yeah.
So that being said,
Ah,
Bipolar's picks are for XP lane is Yuzhong, Valentina, Uranus. Mine are Yuzhong, Lapu Lapu, Uranus. Both of us are Uranus certified Uranus haters, but
yeah,
we cannot
yeah.
deny, we cannot go
No
against
bias.
what we see, right? If you see it working, you see it working. Except for the Granger. Personally, I still
Yeah.
don't buy it. But yeah, Uranus, we saw it. We were like, it doesn't do anything. Guess what? A hungry Granger cannot eat a Uranus. So
Yeah.
moving on to mid, we saw actually
Ooh.
a lot of variety in the mid lane,
Yeah.
but
So much. A lot.
we saw like Kadeta, we saw Kagura, we saw Eve, we saw Kimmy. Though Kimmy did get a damage nerf, Kimmy is still being
Mm-hmm.
played there, very viable still. So I guess my mid lane, of course, I'm still gonna put in the Farsa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still keeping the Eve. But here, I'm probably doing it again. I'm putting a scaling hero. But I'm not sure if it's going to be Lunox or Kimmy. Because right now, it feels that, like, we're still seeing a lot of use on Shin. So we're seeing a lot more scaling mid laners. So I think I'm going for the Lunox. Lunox is just a harder problem to deal with. Counter it deals with a lot of the fighters as well. So I'm putting Lunox instead of Kimmy, but Kimmy is still a viable pick, person in my opinion. Just not in top three. How about you, Bipolar? What are your thoughts on the mid lane top three picks?
Th- this is where every time I might get a lot of backlash because if you look at our Swiss stage predictions, my mid is very very wild.
Yeah.
Just because if I was a coach, me, I'd pick a player that is very versatile in mid and
True.
is just crazy. Just because I think of the game differently if you play mid. So for me, I'll still put Farsa.
Okay.
My second one would be Lilia.
Ooh, actually, I did not think of that, but I think that is okay.
Um, and then after that, uh, this is where it gets crazy. I'd still put Kagura in that mix,
Okay.
but let me explain. Let me explain. Only pick Kagura if Lunox is banned
Okay.
and your if your gold laner in your team is a marksman.
Okay.
If it's a fighter gold lane, don't pick Kagura. Or with exception if it's Sora maybe.
Yeah, Sora's a bit
But
squishy.
yeah. But yeah, I'd still stick with that just because I'm a crazy man in mid.
Yeah.
So if I was realistic here, so that my credibility wouldn't be taken out, Miggy, I'd put Farsa, Eve, and as well as possibly just Kadita or Lunox in
Yeah.
that area. But I like to mix it up in mid, so I'd stick with that.
Yeah. Actually, because you brought up the Lilia, it actually went over my head. But I'm changing my Lunox to a Lilia. Lilia just feels like it has
Mm,
a lot more impact. Now a lot of my heroes are looking like there's more variety in Bipolar's picks. Mine's just all about that utility, all about that crowd control, all about that zoning. While
yeah.
Bipolar has the
I'm still in the
diverse,
experimental
yeah.
phase.
He's still but then again, for the mid laner, I it's a good read on the meta. The mid laner has to be able to play all the roles basically. It's as if he's
Yeah.
trying to play multiple lanes in one role because
Yeah.
you're suddenly Valentina and you're suddenly setting. You're suddenly a Farsa. You're suddenly you
Right?
all you're doing is bursting and being artillery. And suddenly you're
Mm.
Kimmy, you're Lunox, you're suddenly looking at scaling. And with that being said, we are in our last pick, our last
Mm.
position. Bipolar, what are your top three picks for Rome?
I'll still put Grok.
Okay.
Mm, I'd put Chow or Cho.
Cho. Uh, Chu.
And then I I really would just if I was a basic guy, I'd put Hylas there. But
Hylos.
I wouldn't do that.
You're
I'd take
not.
that out, Miggy. Yeah, I'm not gonna put that there. I'm still gonna put Kalea
Okay.
um in that mix. Um honorable mentions for again for Gatot Kacha and Hylos. If for everybody out there, if there's a Valentina, just pick those basic ass heroes.
Yeah.
But if you're ballsy enough, you can make this work. Grokcho and Kalea still, and I still think that there's still be what top 20
Yeah.
for M7 top picks in the knockouts.
I get it. I get it. We're leaning towards a very tanky, very setter centric lineup. And actually, on my end, I'm taking a page from your book I'm copying what you said
Ooh.
in the Swiss stage with Grok, Gatotkacha, and Kalea. These are
I
the
made
most
you a
played picks.
believer.
Yeah. I honestly thought that with the healers getting buffed, with the how much utility and enchanting they can do, it's just that the true and tested crowd control. If a lot of your teammates are dishing out so much damage, you have to be able to provide the crowd control to be able to transfer those or exchange those for kills, exchange those for
Yeah.
objectives, and with Kalea being Kalea with her crowd control, with Gatotkacha's AOG, with Grok's tectonic charge, insane crowd control numbers.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that crowd control is what wins games. Huh, who'da thunk, no? Kills don't win games, but crowd control and objectives do? Would it be my
Yeah.
ranked games?
Would it be my teammates?
Yes, sir. But then again, that's why we are in the grind, while our
Yes,
representatives
you're
our
absolutely right.
representatives are in the M7 World Championships. And with that
Yes,
being
sir.
said, we're going to our last part. It's the Nostra. We're looking at we're gonna end it. Let's start it with the more painful one. Onyx Philippines versus Team Liquid Philippines. What are your takes,
Uh,
Bipoler?
ay, ay. For this Nostra Miguel, I wouldn't be explaining. I'll
Yeah,
just pick my
I
winner
feel the
here.
same because I don't wanna I don't wanna curse or jinx anything.
Yeah, even for other teams, okay.
Agree.
And can we just start at the very first at the
No,
top
no, no, no.
ones?
We
I think
start
that
with the end.
ah ay ay ay. I'd go 2-1 in favor of it's honestly hard.
I know, right?
Um
This is. I feel like these teams, both teams, are like, God damn, this is the this is the hardest game we're gonna play, and it's our first
yeah,
game, our first
it's
series.
they're basically sleeping giants. Because they've been underperforming, especially for Onyx. Wouldn't it be funny though if Onyx won that series?
It wouldn't. I'd be sad.
I'd
I'd
be
be
sad, but
sad.
no, no, no. I mean, like I've been clowning on Onyx. I
Yeah,
love you, Onyx, by the way. But your performance really,
you gotta
I'm
wake
just
up.
really, yeah. But if they won here, whatever I said before, I would be eating it up.
Yeah.
Um, but I'd still go. Um, fa- Father. I'd go 2-1 in favor of TL.
Okay.
2-1 in favor of Team Liquid.
Okay, I will not be giving any points, but I agree. TLPH. I want TLPH out of that hellhole. So yeah, TLPH. Team Spirit versus. And now we move on to our easier one. But
Okay.
then I do agree with you. Both Team Liquid Philippines, they're in shape, but they are not in the best shape they've been at.
Yeah. Not yet activated,
Yeah,
basically.
while Onyx is just Onyx gotta wake up. If they want to be able to like put up a fight in this matchup, they have to get online when it's needed the most. And then moving
Yeah.
on, Team Spirit versus Yangon Galacticos. Of course, Team Kid Bomba. I'm for Team Kid
Uh,
Bomba, so I'm Team Spirit. How about you?
I go Team Spirit to 0.
Okay. Now we move along with Alter Ego versus Aurora Philippines.
Mm.
Of course,
Uh,
I'm biased, so I'm gonna go say Aurora. But then I feel like this is gonna be a close best of five. I feel like this is gonna be a 5 game series. It's not gonna
oh,
be a
it's a
three
best of
zero.
5.
Yes, sir.
Is it a best of 5? I didn't notice.
Yeah.
It's so small in
All
my
of the games
screen.
now, all of the games now, by the way, guys, in the upcoming knockout stage are gonna be best of 5.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot. Okay, so I'll just go back a little bit. Team Liquid Onyx, I go 3-1. Team Spirit Yangon, 3-0
Okay.
for Team Spirit.
I will not be giving numbers because I don't want to jinx it. I just want Team Spirit Team
Uh,
Liquid to win. But moving on, Aurora versus Alter Ego. Aurora Philippines for me.
for me as well, Rora,
Okay.
Philippines, 3-0.
Okay. Moving on, our predictions are gonna be so. Who do we think? I don't want to talk about like who we're gonna be facing off in the grand finals, but
We should.
Actually,
No, no,
sure.
no, no,
Okay.
no,
I don't want
no,
to.
no, 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 no.
No, actually, that's a better idea. That's a better idea. Let's talk who's gonna be fighting in the grand finals, not who's gonna be champion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna say who's champion, but I
Yeah.
want to see. I want to tell you who I want to see. But before that, yeah, SRG Aurora first. Yeah,
Okay, SRG Aurora. So we both agreed SRG is gonna be winning against Aurora Turkey. So moving on
yeah,
from our agreement, we're playing the same game. So Team Liquid will face up against Aurora Gaming Turkey. So on my
yeah,
end, that's gonna be Team Liquid,
yeah.
and
Same.
then Alter Ego versus Team Spirit. I want to say Team Spirit. I'm just biased. Or no, my nausea is just
Yeah.
pretty biased because I really like the teams. All the teams
I,
playing except Yangon. Yeah.
Disclaimer, guys. We're sorry. It's not really fully emotional driven, our predictions here. It's also still with substance. We're
Yeah.
just saying out loud our favorites here. But we do see it realistically.
They're very
For me as well,
competitive.
I would, yeah, it's very, again, M7 now, this world championship is very different. So everybody is on their top shape, despite us despite me clowning on some of these teams here from their previous performances. But yeah, I think we're on the same page here, Miggy, for the lower bracket as well. I do still want Team Liquid and Team Spirit to win here. Plus, if they are up against the teams that went down from upper bracket, I think it's still an easy fight, despite Team Spirit up against Aurora Gaming here.
Yeah.
Oh no, from up against Alter Ego. So I think it's still Team Spirit going to the next round.
Okay. Next up is for the lower bracket semis. It's gonna be with our predictions. It's gonna be Team Spirit versus Team Liquid.
Mm,
I feel that it's Team Liquid. On my end, I feel that it's Team Liquid just because they have a bigger hero pool than. That's what's gonna differentiate them from Turkey. Yeah. They have so many strats and so many, and they play a very similar game. But just because Team Liquid knows early game pressure more than Aurora Turkey, they can just
Aurora or Team Spirit? You're predicting Aurora
sorry.
to win Team Spirit?
Sorry. Team Spirit. Team Spirit.
Oh, okay.
Team Spirit has the same similar gameplay as Liquid, but Team
Mm,
Spirit's pressure is not as consistent or early game pressure or their style
yeah, that's true.
their own personal twist on the Liquid Stampede, the
Mm.
raging Team Spirit Dragon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean for me, yeah, it's just yeah. I still I still see Team Liquid winning here, but I think this is the first full 5 games.
Okay,
So I think it would be like 3-2 Team Liquid here.
I'm on the opposite. I feel like it's not gonna reach 5 games.
It's gonna be fast,
Yeah, I
really.
feel
For
like it's
me,
gonna
I
be
think it
fast.
will. Okay, okay.
So
I just
moving
want
on.
more
Yeah.
Kid Bomba. That's why
Yeah.
that's why I'm
He's
saying
such a
5 games.
character, right? He's such a
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
Then moving on, it's gonna be SRG versus Aurora Philippines.
mm. Me first, you.
You first, because I think this is where we're gonna
I
differentiate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I go Aurora here comfortably.
Okay.
I go Aurora here comfortably.
I'm SRG.
Okay. This is where let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's not explain. Let's immediately go to to the lower black
Well, I
bracket
feel like
finals
I
because
want to
this.
explain my side for this, but then the
Okay,
Liquid
explain your side.
Aurora, I feel
Uh,
that
uh,
with the showing international showing of Aurora Gaming, I think this is what's gonna define their character. Here,
yeah, yeah. This is a
this
great
is
turning point.
this is not just a this is not just a tournament, guys. This is the M series where stories are made, where dreams come true, where dreams are
Yeah,
broken. There has to be a storyline. If SRG and Aurora Philippines face off in the upper bracket finals, this is gonna be a do or die for Aurora Gaming because what's gonna happen is if they lose, they're gonna face up against Team Liquid, and we are
yeah,
certainly denied a Philippines versus Philippines grand finals. But then if they
yeah,
do win, this is where it's a turning point wherein Aurora doesn't choke in the international stage.
yeah.
That's the showing. That's the storyline that we can get from here. So I feel that SRG is gonna win, but then I wouldn't be mad if Aurora Gaming
Aurora won.
wins as well, because the
Yeah.
stories just go right itself. And then you're gonna have a
Yeah.
revenge match between SRG versus Team Liquid Philippines in the lower bracket
Mm.
finals. Your take? Or no,
I
you don't
mean,
want to
for
talk about it.
me, nah, I don't want to talk about it, but I want to talk about lower bracket finals
Yeah.
even more. So for me, I SRG will go down to the lower bracket, and Aurora will take the first spot, and this is where it gets spicy for me
Yeah.
because I'll talk first since you did put SRG in the finals already.
Yeah.
Um, for lower bracket finals, it's gonna be again Team Liquid versus SRG, right?
Yeah.
I think we will get. I Despite me saying that, I think we will be denied a Filipino versus Filipino team,
Ooh.
despite me putting Aurora already in the grand finals.
Okay.
I think Team Liquid will lose if they are up against SRG. If
Especially
they're
if
up
they had
against
the weekend.
Aurora, yeah. If even if they were up against Aurora, if it's like your bracket, right?
Yeah.
If it's Aurora PH versus Team Liquid in the lower bracket finals, I think Team Liquid will easily get into the grand finals. But
Yeah.
if they're up against us, SRG, I fully I want Team Liquid to win, but statistic wise, from what I'm seeing right now, SRG will defeat them 3-1.
Okay.
So my finals would be easily Aurora PH and SRG rematch. And then
Okay.
that will be a proving point for both teams. For me, that's even more spicier.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing. Honestly, with that being said, I can't predict the grand finals because the only thing I can come
No
up
one
with,
can.
yeah, the only thing I can come up with right now is without sounding biased at all in everything or like favoring
Mm.
any of the teams because all of these teams are really good. I guess what
Yeah.
we have in similarities is our top three. So in no order at all, our top three that we feel has what it takes to be the M Series champion are Aurora Philippines, Team
Mm-hmm.
Liquid Philippines, and SRG. They
Mm.
have been showing very dominant gameplay. They've been showing that they've woken up. They've been showing understanding of the draft. So that's why even I can't say who's gonna be in the grand finals because just by with the three of them being in the upper bracket and lower bracket finals, it's a story in itself.
Yeah. I
So
I would like to add more into that story though, Miggy.
yeah.
If you look at the round one of lower bracket, I also wouldn't be surprised if Onyx defeats Team Liquid there.
Ooh.
Like, it's a long shot. But I can see it happening, Miggy. Because if Alter Ego won their series before, why couldn't that happen for Onyx and Team Liquid? If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And if Team Liquid and Team Spirit reaches semifinals lower bracket, I would also not be surprised if Team Spirit won.
Yeah.
And that would be an even crazier M7 Grand Finals, Miggy.
True. True.
Ima- Imagine SRG won in upper bracket finals. They got the first spot. It's Team Spirit versus Aurora PH. For me, it might be the first time that there's no Filipinos in the finals once again.
Ooh. Interesting.
Like
Interesting.
that's how good these teams are.
Yeah.
Like there's so many possibilities that you cannot predict on a certainty 100%. If you were to ask me 3 years for the past 3 world championships, I would easily say there's a Filipino in the grand finals.
Yeah.
This time I would be hesitant. Like 75%.
Yeah, I guess it just goes to show, as we keep mentioning, that and a lot of the players, a lot of the coaches have been mentioning, M7 has been the most competitive M series they've ever competed
Yeah.
in. And agreeing with you that even Onyx, yeah, there's a long shot, but there's always a shot for Onyx Philippines to secure a victory against Team Liquid
Right,
Philippines.
right.
It just goes to show, just like the Alter Ego versus Onyx, we've seen them being second fiddle against Onyx ID. But it boils down to if your skill level, skill cap are equal, if your hero pools are equal, it's passion that drives you to win.
Yeah, it's hunger.
It's whoever is hungrier for the win who eventually wins it all. And
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of up and coming regions. And this is a testament to it because we are seeing Yangon Galacticos. We are seeing Team Spirit. We are seeing SRG. We are seeing Aurora from two different regions. And of course, the Indonesian representatives are still here. It just goes to show how competitive and how multinational MLBB has become.
Yeah.
And I guess with our Nostra, yeah, we predicted who's winning. Our top three teams are gonna be, I guess that's the best Nostra we can do. Top three teams are SRG, Aurora Philippines, and Team Liquid Philippines.
Yeah.
And that's it for our Nostra section of this podcast. And I think
Woo!
that's it for the podcast. Again, this is The Breakdown with Miggy and Bipoler. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to stay updated, feel free to subscribe and stay updated by following us on our social media pages. How about you, Bipoler? Where can they reach you?
I mean, you can reach me at Bipoler, Bipole, then triple R's at the end. I will be uploading a lot, and hopefully, you guys see me soon, and as well as Miggy in the MLBB stage. Hopefully this year. If not, hopefully next year. But yeah, and again, subscribe to Miggy. Follow Miggy and follow my socials as well. Thank you very much, guys.
Again, I'll be putting our links in the description box down below. Again, this is The Breakdown. We talked about M7. This is Miggy. And with Bipoler, we'll catch you guys next time.